Fancy ring. This ring has fancy claws, a little embellishment here, and beading on the inside. So how about we start at the bottom first. Turn everything off. There's the claws. There's the gemstone. There's the fancy piece. There's the beads. And there's the shank. So let's start with the shank. We're using the Ryan ring shank. You can change it to any size you want. We'll stick to the 7. You change the profiles, and that gives you the ring shank. Find the curve on the surface to add the millgrain. We're exploding it. Then we're finding this curve by using the ISO curve UV. So there's the curve, and we're moving it slightly in the Y direction in, and then we're adding millgrain to it and mirroring it, figuring out the length, subtracting 2, start domain, end domain, and mirroring it to the opposite side. Okay, that creates the millgrain there. There's the ring shank. So let's turn all these off again. So that gets us the millgrain and the shank. We created the shank, found ISO curve on the shank, and moved it inwards. And used cutout the surface. We used a curve to solid surface cutout. There's the surface. Mirrored it to the 4 sides to make the piece. Okay, the next piece. The bumps. These are like a curl. We used spiral curve. And because we're making a curve on both ends, there's the one curve. There's the other curve. We're blending them together to create this curve. Okay, so we're blending this curve and this curve together with blend. We're rebuilding the curve, and then we are piping the curve and scaling it. Once we have it scaled to where we want, we're using Rotate Move 360 to rotate it in position. We're mirroring it. Okay? So we're using the move to move this up and down. That's to rotate it, and that's to move it in position. And we're moving it to the start of the curve for the shank, which is one of these endpoints are in here on the curve for the shank. And then we're adjusting it from there. Okay, the last thing is the fancy claws. First we have a gemstone. And we're creating fancy claws. And what we're going to use is the fancy curve generator to create the fancy claws. And we're using the claws in position but we're going to use the opposite of each. Okay? We have a list of curves, the right curve and the left curve that are generated here. Those curves, then the opposite curves. We're bringing those curves all into position and then moving them up into position and then coloring it. So you can see everything in this ring is built over 0, 0. You build it first over 0, 0, then you orient to the ring top, ungroup them, and then color them. Every definition follows this same format. But now you can see I delete this. There's the ring and the beads. There's the curl ends. And there's the gemstone and fancy claws. Thank you for watching.